driver interviews, pit action, industry news. We're bringing you everything that fuels the adrenaline-pumping world of dirt track racing. Buckle up now. You're sitting with the Slimy Bastards. Take it away, Jason.
Are you tired of losing your pit mat at a race? Well, get a hold of 44 Productions. They can customize your team logo, number, name, whatever you want on that pit mat. So get a hold of Tanner or Kelsey at 44 Productions. Welcome to the Slimy Bastard podcast show. I wanted to take a moment and do kind of a recap of the week, Salute to Veterans Tour week. It was quite overwhelming as far as emotions and everything that are tied up into all this. The people you meet, the stories you hear, the veterans you meet, and just some of the reactions is just pretty emotional and pretty overwhelming at times. Some of the race car drivers that we met, the wraps, it's really, really cool to see all that come together. And just the racing and all in general was just fantastic. We had drivers from all over the place come in for this. It was the first night in, take that back. First night I went to Britt, and then the Salute to Veterans Tour kicked off in Spencer, and then Algona, and then an off night, which was in Marshalltown that got rained out. And then from Marshalltown to Boone, what was the last night of the Salute to Veterans Tour. In Boone, it was like a mini prelude to the Boone Nationals, 251 cars. It was a full night of racing, and by the end of it all, you're pretty damn tired. But it was nice meeting some of the new people that I met, some of the guys that I've already known. It was great catching up with Tanner Black, Kelsey Foley, Braxton Yeager, and some of them guys that have traveled in for this tour, and along with some of the local guys that I got to know. It's always nice seeing these faces and everything, and I can't thank anyone or everyone enough for the support and everything that they've done, from putting stickers on their cars to doing the podcast with me, and just a little video introduction things that we've been working on. Another good guy that came out from Wyoming that did some filming for us, and did some filming for some other drivers. Aiden from Green River, Wyoming, made the flight out here, or drove out here with his dad, and just a phenomenal kid, along with his video editing and video stuff that he does is just over the top. And if you get a chance, check him out. It's I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe it's videos by Aiden or something like that. But he's on our TikToks and Facebook page and all that, but you'll see some of them coming out in the next couple of weeks, and just a phenomenal kid in what he does. But with that, I had my family come out to a couple of these races. They showed up at Algona and Boone, and two little kids, Presley and Maverick, along with my wife. And even they have said that it was pretty neat seeing all the cars and the wraps and that. And with me, Presley has been wanting to do this with me for quite some time, and so I told her we would do a little kind of a wrap on this whole week of what we saw in that. And so, Presley, how are you?
Good.
So what was your favorite thing about the races that you went to this week?
I don't know.
You don't know? Well, what was your favorite car?
Kelsey?
Kelsey's car was your favorite?
Mm-hmm.
And why was that?
Because she won before.
She's won before?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you got a couple of shirts too, didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah. Now, when you went to the Boone races, was it a lot of racing?
Yeah.
Were you tired afterwards?
Yeah.
What do you tell your friends about the races?
that it was good, and there was a lot of people. There was race cars.
Just a whole 9 yards, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Did you like seeing the plane flyovers and the way they do the national anthem with the gun, with the way they shot off the gun thing? Yeah. What else do you want to talk about? That's it? You wanted to come on and do this with me and you didn't have nothing else to say, huh? So I got Maverick, my youngest son, joining us here, and he was with some of the shows racing and that. So Maverick, what did you like about the races?
Good.
Yeah. Who was your favorite car?
Braxton.
Braxton. Was there anybody else?
Kelsey.
Yeah. And who else?
Tanner.
Oh, who's Tanner?
He's a racer.
Oh, what's Tanner's last name?
Tanner Black.
Oh, Tanner Black. Yeah. So you had some pretty good race car drivers there this week, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And did you like watching the races?
Mm-hmm.
You did. What was your favorite race?
Hot laps.
Oh, the hot laps. Yeah. Did you what was your favorite car color?
A yellow.
Oh, the yellow one. Now, what else did you like about the races?
When they did an out.
Oh, when they spun out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had a couple spin outs in front of you, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
A couple big wrecks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, Braxton won his heat race last night, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
You were pretty excited by that, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to say about this week of racing?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us on the show here.
Okay. Thank you.
So with that in mind, I just want to thank everybody for checking us out. This whole week has been a ball. I've had a great time traveling around and, like I said, meeting some new people and seeing old faces and that. But if you get the chance next year and you've never done this tour before, you really need to look into doing it and checking it out, because it is by far probably one of the best things that this sport has done for our military troops and veterans, and just what they do all in general for them is just outstanding. Jason and his dad Bernie have done a fantastic job of putting the Hunting for Heroes Salute to Veterans organization together, and you really see that at all these events. Though, just a top class of everything is high end. It's all well done, and my hat's off to them and that whole tour and the success it's had, and it's going to keep on growing just because of the way it's been going. So with that in mind, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to tie this into the episode that I did with a special veteran, race car driver, modified driver, and here's that episode. Thanks for listening. Alrighty, welcome to the Slimy Bastard podcast show. We're on our final day here in Boone, Iowa. The Salute to Veterans tour that we're doing. I want to thank Lake Mills Motorsports and Pit Stop Motorsports for helping us out on the show and everything. And it's been a long week, fun week, but I'm honored, and I've been talking with the individual that I'm going to have on here with us. And I want to introduce you to Pappie Leonard. And I truly mean this. I appreciate you coming on here. I visited with you for quite a while in Spencer, and it was an honor to meet you.
I'm happy to be here for all the people in the grandstands.
So we talked in Spencer, and originally you were just going to run in Spencer and Arkansas, where you're at. And then you changed your mind. You're running Boone.
Yeah, I had a lot of people voicing disappointment that I wasn't going to be here. And you got to stop and listen to the fans up there in the grandstands, because that's what you race for.
Uh-huh.
And we're here to represent all the veterans
Sure.
and to support them and bring awareness to the problems that the veterans have.
Mm-hmm.
So when people started asking me at these car shows, are you going to be here for this? Are you going to be there for that? And then when it got to Boone, and I said, no, I got to go back and be in the points chase. There's points separating me and second place guy. You can count on one hand.
Uh-huh.
And it's been that way for the past 2.5 months. Either he's in the lead with points or I'm in the lead with points. And the championship is just absolutely there for the taking. I'm giving up the championship just for my fans here in Ohio. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to be 40 points down when I go back. And we got 5 races, and I figured if I jump in there and run hard, I can make up that 40 points.
Sure.
You know, it's a 50-50 proposition on winning the championship now.
Yep.
It's the second time running the Vets Tour.
Uh-huh.
And I came back up last year for the Boone Nationals. I was so impressed with the people and with the track and everything. I come back for Boone Nationals. And my family had so much fun after last year. They just could not understand me not coming to the Vet Tour.
Uh-huh.
And we have got sponsors on our car that are just amazing. And Radar O'Reilly, is him and his family, is one of the sponsors on our car. And hey, I can't say anything bad about him. Not everybody can be a Marine. He's an ex-Army guy, a doggy, you know.
And we kind of joked about that the other day. You were a Marine, correct?
Yes.
And my dad, you served, how many years did you serve in the military?
21.5 years.
Okay. And you were in Vietnam and in that, right?
Yes. I was there a couple of days.
Yeah. And my dad was in the Army in Vietnam. And but I think on this, you take all the military branches and all that, and how you were saying that needs to be brought to awareness of what's going on with some of the veterans that are back home and what they faced in that. It's almost in every branch, and you could say it is in every branch. There isn't when it comes to that point. Would you say that?
Oh, most definitely. Like I'm a retired Marine.
Yep.
And I'm disabled, but they keep me in the race car to keep my mind straight and to help me get over the lumps in life.
Sure.
One guy this morning asked me, how many hours a night do you sleep? And the answer to that is that I might get 1 hour sleep a night or 3 hours sleep a night at any given time. This racing helps me over those lumps like that. The wrap on my car,
yeah,
it is all Army Rangers on my car. Now, I'm a retired Marine.
Yeah.
You know, but Radar, he's ex-Army and everything. He's been so nice to me that my girls decided they was going to do the wrap in the car as Army Rangers.
Yeah.
They kicked me out of the shop. I never seen the car until we got ready to load it up.
Yeah.
And here I am facing all these doggies on my race car. I got a doggy wrap on my race car. So, but, you know, that's the way it is.
Right.
We come up here. And then Radar sneaks a Army flag on my car for the parade laps the other night.
I seen that up there in Algona.
Yes, up there in Algona. You're not the only one. There were some Army reservists up there.
Yep.
And they was asking each other, isn't he a Marine? And everybody said, yeah, he's a retired Marine. What's he doing with the Army Rangers on his car and carrying the Army flag?
You got to represent them all, right?
Oh, yeah. You got to represent them all, and you got to have a good humor about it.
Sure. When you come up here, you say you got the fans are enjoying it. And last year your first year coming up to this?
Yes, it was.
And you had one hell of a what you would say a homecoming for it.
Oh, I spent 50 years of not being welcomed home.
Yeah.
And I come up here to Iowa, and the grandstands just come unglued when they introduced me out there on the track. I just couldn't believe it. That's such a welcome home gift that they gave me.
Sure.
I had to come back for the fans.
Yeah. Now, would you say that with you racing down in Arkansas, how many tracks do you actually race in Arkansas?
Oh, shoot. Let's see. About 4.
So would you say up here in Iowa, is there a stronger fan following for racing up here versus where you are? Is it about the same, or?
If they had a capital for dirt racing, Iowa would be the capital of dirt racing.
Yeah.
These people up here, they back their drivers.
Yeah.
Whoever they choose, they back them.
Yeah, and that's just it. They don't have one or two. It's one or the other. And you go to Britt, Iowa, or even say Algona, you got your diehard, say, Jeremy Mill fans, and then diehard Kelly Shyrock fans, and there's no in between. It's kind of interesting, but it makes it fun. It reminds me of when I was growing up. You'd hear the crowd roars of who was taking the lead or whoever, and that makes it neat of going to the races like that. When you have a good following of a certain driver,
it would be amazing to see how the vote would go if we had one of the drivers run for president of the United States. How would Iowa vote? They're the capital of racing.
Yeah.
They're just a great state.
Now, when you're doing the Salute to Veterans tour and all that, and you guys are doing that fan zone where you're up there. There's 10 cars up there. They can come up and see the cars. Meet the drivers. It's a whole interaction, and it's one hands down probably one of the best things I've ever seen in this sport, as far as giving back and just doing what they do for the veterans and their families. But when you come here, if you served in the military, there are 2 passes into the races for free. You're getting a meal for your family. They give you a $20 gas gift card. And you got a chance to win all these prizes. You meet the drivers and everything. They're basically paying you to come check out this stuff. And it's by far probably one of the best things I've seen in all of sports for what they do for veterans.
Well, I tell you, like any other sport, to really back up everything.
Yep.
And the sponsors that you have for the Veterans Tour, they're just unreal. I've never ever in my racing life ever met sponsors like that are so focused on supporting the vets, bringing them to light of their problems and everything they're having.
Sure.
And they do not just stop at the vets. They go to the veteran survivors, the wives, the children, any parent.
Yep.
They are supportive of anyone in the family that's attached to that veteran.
Sure.
And that's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is amazing.
Yeah. So what year did you start racing?
Oh, I started racing when I was 14 years old.
Okay.
And that's been a couple of days ago, And after 21 and a half years in the Marine Corps, I come out of the Marine Corps. My wife and daughters at that time, 2 kids, went to the junkyard, bought me an old junk car and put it in the backyard. And my wife told me, said, "It's sitting out there under the pine trees. You got a race car, go build one."
Yeah.
And we built one and got into racing in North Carolina, real heavy, running dirt. And then they started asphalt. And so we converted our old dirt car over into asphalt. I got to race against Dale Earnhardt's son, Dale Jr.
Oh, really?
And that's a real interesting situation there. Dale Jr., he liked the brake check coming out turn 2 all the time, and I'm behind him. He's brake checking me. That's where you tap the brake, make the car change up distance on it. Well, after about 4 times that, I let him know I was still there. I didn't put my foot on the brake. I gave him a love tap. And boy, I tell you what, the race was on then. Yeah. We had a good time that time.
When you said you raced in North Carolina in asphalt, what's that big track that's kind of famous there for the asphalt? Not NASCAR, but it's, you know what I mean? It's that lower sanctioned. They run modifieds, and I think they had a TV series on it too.
Well, let's see. The name of the tracks just totally passed me by. You got to remember, I'm 76 years old.
I'm trying. Yeah. and I'm trying to think of the same damn thing I know it's a famous place, but there's a lot of fights afterwards because of that, what happens
Yes.
on in the race. So I was just curious if you remember that, if you've ever raced that track or.
Well, I know the track that you're talking about, and you say a lot of things happen up there.
Yeah.
And the street stock, and NASCAR stock, okay, street
Yep.
stock. I seen this guy out there get so mad that he rammed another car, and they put out the red flag. This guy didn't stop. He ran up in front of him, spun his car around, come back and rammed somebody else.
Yep.
He ended up ramming half the field. They do take their racing very well. I have seen that they do not put up with it.
Yep.
From $20,000 to $40,000 per car, depending on what team it is.
Yeah. Or even more than that.
Or even more than that. But the average is going to run about $40,000 per car.
Yep.
And you just can't afford to go out there and use it as a tank to tear up everything.
Right. A bad name doing it.
Yeah.
So coming up here and doing all this, are you going to be back next year then?
I'll probably be back. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger said, I'll be back.
Because when I talked to you in Spencer, you were just on cloud nine to be back, and you could tell you really enjoyed being up here for all this and doing all this. And it's been a really, really fun week. I've enjoyed meeting a lot of people. I met you for the first time, and it's really neat seeing all these guys come in, and there's been huge car counts at every race this year. I think it's even more than what they've had in the past.
It's a big car count.
Yeah. And with that being said, what's one race that sticks out in your mind that you won that probably meant the most to you that you won?
It's not the race that I won. It's a race to where I qualified good, got into the main event, run up in the top 5. I didn't win the race. Now, after the race was over with, we went to the pits. And I'm sitting on the ramp of the trailer, having me a ice cold water.
Yep.
And this little 5-year-old boy come running to me, and never seen him before in my life. He come running with his hands stretched out. And that right there was the greatest reward that you could ever get as a race car driver.
Yeah.
Is to have a baby come running to you knowing that you're going to share your life with him for just a few minutes.
Yeah.
It's great.
And I got a little guy who's 4 years old, and my oldest son who's out in Idaho, just about to get married. And they, even as when he was little, just like my little guy now, play with cars and they act like they're racing cars. I mean, they'll act like, the guys that I follow really close and some close family friends of ours, and they'll act just like them, like they're racing dirt. And that just goes to show you the impact of what a driver has on some of these guys growing up.
Well, I tell all the young drivers, watch what you say. Watch what you do or what you insinuate, because you got eyes on you all the time.
Yep.
And they go from 2 years old all the way up to 100 years old.
Yeah.
And whatever you do, it's going to stick with those people for a lifetime.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It's going to stick with them.
Sure.
So it's a lot easier to be good than bad.
So like my podcast show, there's times where we, it kind of goes overboard in that, but we all, in the end of the day, it's just having a good time with, after the race, and things like what we're doing here today, and, what's the farthest you've traveled for a race?
Oh, shoot. Let's see. I went from Arkansas down to Dallas, Texas, and then from Arkansas to Florida for Speed Week, out to North Carolina, and let's see, Missouri. That's not that far away from Arkansas where I live. But one that no sponsorship for this trip whatsoever. I took a flying leap and went to Clean, Texas. There was a little girl down there that Well, she was handicapped. Now, a special kid.
Uh-huh.
All right. And they was running a race for her, a birthday race. And I found out about it. So I loaded up my car and took off to Texas to race for that kid down there. And I donated my winnings to the kid. And we also helped pass the helmet in the grandstands to get stuff for her because she needed some medical equipment.
Yep.
And her family didn't have the money to get it.
Sure.
Or whatever. So we went down there to race for them. And it was very rewarding.
Yeah.
The little girl, she was 6 years old. I don't know why she was sick like she was, but she was sick.
Yep.
And my reward was racing for that kid and riding her in my race car.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I put a blanket up on the deck beside me there and laid her down on the deck of the car and held on to her. And I was driving around the pits and I said, well, shoot, nobody's on the track. So we went out on the track and made a couple of laps on the track.
She probably loved it.
Oh, she was just tickled to death.
Yeah.
We come off the track and her mama was crying.
Yep.
I don't know if it's because I kidnapped her daughter or because she's happy.
So, what's one thing you think out of everything, this is all about the vets and giving back to the vets and all that. What do you think is lacking of vet right now? What do they need the most right now?
Understanding. You take the average person, the average American, and you say, you've been in battle, you had to hurt people.
Yep.
They don't understand that the first person that vet had to kill will always be with them every day, every night.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll see that person. If they would just stop and try to put themselves in that vet's shoes, which is impossible to do unless you're a vet.
Yeah.
But if they would try to do that and try to understand what that vet is going through, that would be the greatest medicine that could come out of this whole vet tour.
Sure. And there's so many, like you said, of what they've gone through, what they've seen. You have no idea. Mm-hmm. I experienced that with my dad. He didn't go into great detail of a lot of that just because of what he saw in Vietnam and that. But some of the stuff he has shared, and I always take this with me of. I think this younger generation and these kids that are growing up today don't fully understand of what war is. Yeah. And I don't think this country does either. And that's pretty much what he said too, is this country has no idea what war is. And that's in a way it's sad because I think you should be aware of that. And I think the schools and all that need to teach that and show that of what is possible and what has been possible.
Well, if people want to learn more about what the vet has gone through, they should watch Green Beret. The movie put out a good 70% of reality in that movie. Yeah. And people don't realize that, but that's the one movie that I would say, go watch. Uh-huh. Green Beret. It's all about Army. I'm sorry to say it's all about Army. Yeah, but you can't always be perfect.
Would you say Full Metal Jacket or like Platoon? Were those accurate at all? Because you served in Vietnam.
They were just real good entertainment. Uh-huh. And I would say they only had maybe 30% reality in it. Okay. And I'm, for one, I don't watch very many.
Sure, and I understand that. Yeah, it makes sense.
But kids tell me about what they've seen and everything, and I draw my conclusions from that.
Sure.
And my kids know firsthand what I went through and everything because they was there when I come home when they was little babies. Yeah. And you take someone that has more value on an animal's life than they do on a human's life. Yeah. There's something wrong there. Yeah. And that's what I was for a very, very long time. Yeah. You're looking like, oh my God, what I got in here now?
No, I'm just, I'm thinking because my dad was really, really close to his dogs.
Well, you just got to back up and take a drink of water and take life as it is and have fun.
Yeah.
And this racing, it's the best medicine I ever got.
Yeah. And going all around with this tour and that, what's been one of your favorite stops so far?
That's hard to say because, matter of fact, that's not a fair question. I have got 3 racetracks here, 3 different circuses,
Yeah.
but they all have one thing in common. They have the fans up there with the love of the sports and love of all the drivers.
Right.
And these fans come closer to understanding what this vet tour is about
Sure.
than I would say anyone else in the United States.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. These people up there are just flat-footed, amazing.
Yeah. And I think that says a lot. I'd like to see more people come around from the United. I mean, like, for example, we have Tanner Black here from Kansas. His fiance, Kelsey Foley's here racing. We got Braxton Yeager all the way out from Wyoming. There's even some kids from California that's out here racing. I mean, it says a lot of these guys that are starting to come in from other states like yourself, from Arkansas. I think there's Minnesota, Missouri. And I think you're going to see that growing each year. More drivers coming in from out other states and support this, and that's a big thing. And I'm happy about that because, like you said, it brings more awareness to what the purpose is by that.
Well, there's one thing here that sponsors have worked so close together and so hard that they are actually paying part of the pit fee, if not all the pit fee for the veterans.
Really?
They get into
for the drivers, you mean?
For the drivers and widows and dependents.
Oh, really?
Of the vets coming into this race. And
So I knew the stands, but I didn't know the driver side of that. So that's fantastic. I didn't know that.
Yes. You can't have a race without drivers and cars.
Sure.
And this is all about the vets. And I think I would be here if I had to pay gate fee or not.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's some that are just right down to the bare bones of getting to this race.
Yep.
And in this race and everything. And as long as I got a Social Security check, I can go racing.
So, real quick, what's one of your favorite drivers that you look up to, or that you always? And I'm not talking NASCAR. I'm talking in this sport of
this one right here
in modified driving.
Okay, we have to start off with I don't know his last name. Todd. He drives the I believe it's the number 5 car.
Okay.
All right.
I think it's Todd the other night.
Yeah.
Yep.
He won in Spencer, I believe.
Yep.
Okay. He's up on the wheel. He's a hell of a driver. He's a nice guy to talk to.
Uh-huh.
And if he's upset, he will just absolutely hide himself until he calms down. He don't put out no bad vibes to anybody. And then the next one is Jeremy Mills.
Uh-huh.
Jeremy is sort of funny. He drives the 10 car.
Yeah.
You got the 5 and you got to multiply that by 2. You got Jeremy Mills there. If them two were starting on the pole, heads up, I could not say which one is going to win.
Yeah.
Because there's so high quality of drivers. They got the best equipment there is out here. And they could have the worst running car there is out here and they'd still put on a show.
Turn something on.
Yeah. So those are my 2 choices right there.
Sure. So, you guys are heading back home tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And get all settled back home and everything after a long week of racing and all that. Then you're running back at your track there. How many more races you got back home?
We have got, when we get back there, we have 5 races left.
Okay.
And then we have got one that is called the Hope 71 at Batesville, Arkansas, that we're going to hit.
Yep.
And then after that, we tear down, get ready for the Clash on the Coast in Florida during Speed Week.
Okay.
And we'll be out there doing the same thing we're doing here.
Sure.
Yeah. Me at 76 years old, being able to do something like
You
this.
take advantage of it.
I'm going to take advantage. I ain't got time to mess around. If you read the sign on the very front of my car, it says, too old to be slow.
Yeah.
It should read, I ain't got time to be slow.
Yeah. They put it on the back of the car. But you got a nice saying on that,
I got
too.
something else on the back of my car. It's called, try this in a small town.
Yeah. I want to thank you sincerely. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your time on here. I've really enjoyed every conversation I've had with you, and I truly mean that. I love visiting with you, and I welcome you back anytime when you come back next year. And best of luck to you. Safe travels back home, and your family's great to talk to. You got a good hand on
Thank you.
I think your wife keeps a pretty close rein on you. And
oh, she does. They don't let me go nowhere by myself. I would like to say one last thing.
Sure.
I want to tell all the fans in the grandstands, all 3 tracks, and all the vets that I come here just for them.
Yeah.
And win, lose, or draw, whatever I do, it's for those people up there in the grandstands.
Sure. And that means a lot to them too, because of how far you travel and just seeing recognition of what's going on for what they're doing here for the Salute to Veterans Week and that. So, once again, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. And until next time, thank you for listening to the Slimy Bastard Podcast Show. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, all your social links, Spotify. And thanks for listening. Pit Stop Motorsports, Dirt Tracks Racing, largest inventory trackside parts service. We keep racers on the track, located in Rock Springs, Wyoming, and coming to a track near you. Check us out on Facebook at Pit Stop Motorsports. And tell Slade Pitt the Slimy Bastards sent you.
Driver interviews, pit action, industry news. We're bringing you everything that fuels the adrenaline-pumping world of dirt track racing. Buckle up now. You're sitting with the Slimy Bastard.